Hello, I'm Dr. Lewis Hoffman of Saybrook University, and this is the course introduction and orientation video to the course The Visionary Psychology of Ernest Becker. I'm going to quickly go over my overview and approach to the course, approach to course discussions, a little bit about the writing assignments and utilizing feedback, the assignment quizzes, and how to succeed in this course. First of all, one of the primary things we're going to do, as I'm sure you're expecting, is study Becker's major ideas. We'll be working through a number of Becker's books and books based off of Becker's ideas. We're also going to look at how Becker's ideas have been applied and his influences. So this is going to look at how other scholars have applied his ideas, how they've been influenced by him, and things along these lines. But also want to encourage critiquing Becker and applying Becker. In other words, what I will be doing is encouraging you as a student in the class to critique Becker and see how you would apply his theories in whatever professional context that you are planning to work in. With the course discussions, I want to mention a few things about this with the intent of helping you to succeed in this. I'm going to go through this quickly, and then at the end there's a suggestion for a video on critical thinking classroom discussion that goes into more detail around this. But what's important is that you don't treat this as busy work. Keep in mind that this is intended to simulate a classroom discussion and allow students to play with ideas. In other words, I hope that you put out ideas on the discussion posts that are things that you maybe aren't even sure if you agree with, but you're playing around with the ideas, you're thinking through. This is a place to think about things more informally, to consider things that you're not sure how you feel about, so that you can clarify your thinking, which hopefully will lead into writing a paper that is more with greater clarity of your ideas. Because of this, you're encouraged to write in a more informal style. Still need to use professional communication skills and show critical thinking. In other words, you need to treat people with respect, disagree with respect, try and think about things from different perspectives. And critical thinking is not about being critical necessarily. It may be being critical at times, but it's more about seeing things through different perspectives. Because it's more of an informal style, you do not need to cite sources in APA style, and I would encourage you not to. Instead, if you're talking about Becker's denial of death, you might just say, I liked Becker's idea in the denial of death. This is the way I would apply it. One of the most important things is do not summarize. When I give feedback to students and ask them to either rewrite a post or let them know that they need to change their post if they're going to be able to pass the participation aspect of the class, most commonly it is because people are summarizing. You can assume that we've all read the course material and are familiar with it, and it's not going to be very interesting to read it again. So do not summarize. But do demonstrate that you've done the reading. And this is reflected by being able to engage with different ideas and show that you understand them. Not by summarizing them, but by engaging them, applying them, critiquing them, etc. Do engage with others in the course. This is intended to simulate classroom discussion. So it is important to engage with others. When we just read, we often forget. When we read and discuss, we are more likely to remember and advance our thinking about something because we're going to see different perspectives about it. We've thought through our response to it. So the engagement is part of what helps you remember, learn, see things from different perspectives. Very important. And what is critical as well is do not fall behind. If you fall behind, first and foremost, you cannot engage and interact with others. So be sure that you're keeping up with the course material. When you get behind, course discussions turn into busy work, where you're just doing them to get them done instead of interacting around them. So don't let them turn to busy work. Make sure you're keeping up. Also, discussions will be closed shortly after the week is closed. I don't do it right at the end of the week because life does happen sometimes, and I accept that people may be behind occasionally on the discussions posts. If it's a pattern, so if routinely you're making your post after it is supposed to be completed, but before the discussion closed, you will not be able to pass the course. You need to consistently be completing the course requirements on time. It is also important to have some idea about my approach to participation. I'm not going to necessarily respond to every post. However, I do read every post. I will often post some introductory thoughts relevant to the material, but also will post some things that are trying to extend the course material beyond what is covered in your readings and elsewhere. So these are some of the ways that I'm going to approach my participation. But don't worry if I'm not responding to many of your posts. I want people in the course to be able to interact with each other and for me to participate as well in that to some degree. But my focus is going to be on participating in some different ways as the instructor. And then, as I mentioned, there is in the course shell a link to a video on critical thinking classroom discussion that, particularly if you've not had a class with me before, I would encourage you to watch. Writing assignments and utilizing feedback. Communicating and including writing is essential for psychologists and especially in a PhD program. It's very difficult to be successful as a psychologist if you can't communicate well, including in written form, and typically in different styles in a professional language. So scholarly as well as some more informal ways, but yet a professional tone. My goals in providing feedback is to help you improve your writing so you can focus more on content. Some students struggle with writing all through the program, so the entire program they're spending a lot of time working on learning to write, looking things up in the style manual, and doing things along these lines that distracts from being able to focus on the content. The more you're able to improve your writing early on, you're going to be able to save a lot of time over the course of the program and focus more on content. Also, if you improve your writing, your dissertation is going to be less painful, or your thesis. If you don't have the fundamental skills established by the time you get to your thesis and dissertation, those can be very, very painful processes and take a lot longer than what they need to. Master the skills so that you can do these in a more enjoyable fashion. Also, my hope is to help improve your writing so that you can succeed in your career. Each assignment should demonstrate improvement on writing and critical thinking. So I want to see improvement across the course. And all written assignments, except for the course discussion, should use a scholarly style of writing. Journal articles are a good model for this. Write in a style that is similar to what you see in journal articles. And then be sure to complete your assignments on time. This is critical. For one, it's harder for me to get you feedback if you don't complete them on time. I generally, across the different courses I teach, I set up the due dates so that they stagger. And I grade in a queue in the order that they come in. So if you are late on your assignment and other assignments come in before yours, that can set you back quite a ways, giving you less time to incorporate the feedback. Another thing it does, I think it's important for students to recognize how it can impact professors. When you're late on your assignments, for me to get you the feedback you need to succeed, often that means that I have to take time away from my family and my personal life to catch up on grading that I'm doing because you're late on it. That's not fair to the professor, and it's also not good professional responsibility. If you are late on assignment, it's very important that you exercise professional courtesy and contact me and let me know why as soon as you know. But if it is a pattern, if it is because you did not prepare well for having your assignment done on time, then that's not a good excuse. It needs to be something that is beyond your control for it really to be an acceptable reason to hand in a late assignment. You know, when everything is due at the beginning of the course, it's your responsibility to plan in advance and make sure that things are done on time. My suggestion is there are several relevant videos on writing and scholarly style, how I grade, things along these lines. If you've not taken a class with me in particular, I would encourage you to watch these. The assignment quizzes. This is something new that I'm trying. What I'm finding is that for many students, they're struggling to be able to incorporate some of the feedback. into their assignments to make improvement. In some cases, I'm sure this is because they're not reading the feedback. In other cases, maybe forgetting the feedback. And thus, my purpose in these assignments is to help students succeed and reinforce the learning. Now, also at Saybrook, it is a very common thing to be asked to rewrite papers. And I often will ask students to rewrite papers to strengthen them, both because the writing needs improving and because the content needs improving. If you submit a paper and then your next paper doesn't incorporate the feedback that I've offered, you will be asked to rewrite, even if it's something as simple as not correcting some of the formatting around commas. If you're not utilizing that feedback, you're going to write it again. I spend a lot of time offering feedback to help you succeed, and I do expect that to be used. And so the assignment quizzes are basically asking you to look at the feedback and respond, letting me know a few things that you're going to be working on, that you're going to prioritize working on to improve your writing. Again, this is not intended to be busy work, but to reinforce the learning and help remind you that this is an expectation that you utilize the feedback. So how to succeed in this course: keep up with the requirements. If you get behind, particularly, you cannot to interact with others and do the quality of work that if you keep up with the requirements. As I noted, you know when everything is due now. It's important for you to plan ahead, to have these done on time. If you have work, family, other things that are coming up around the time of due dates, then make sure you get a head start on your assignments and have them done in advance. If you routinely fall behind on course requirements, even if you complete them, you may not be eligible to pass the course. Ask questions. If you go through the course material at the beginning and things are not clear, please ask questions. If the feedback that I offer is not clear, please ask questions. So this is important. Utilize feedback. So I've talked about that. I expect that you use the feedback to make improvements, and then watch the recommended videos. If you are able to do these things, your chances of succeeding in this course and getting the most out of the course will greatly improve. Thank you very much. Look forward to working with you in the course this time.